First of all, I mean, this is a great barometer, or like a bellwether for the U.S. economy. Does it tell us that people are worried about, DIY because they don't know how the trade war will impact them?
So I think what we're learning from the CEO, the comments he made in this statement, is that they're concerned a little bit about how the trade war is going to affect consumer sentiment. That's why we've seen the full year guidance cut when it comes to comparative sales and revenue growth. There's some concern that if the trade war isn't resolved, if we still see these tariffs due in September and some of the ones that are delayed in December, that is going to affect the consumer. What's also interesting as well, though, when you look at the Home Depot numbers, is that they're really concerned about the price deflation they've seen when it comes to lumber. That's something that the CEO called out specifically in the statement saying that lumber price deflation is really the reason that has been they're seeing comparative sales fall. We saw they missed in the second quarter, and they also lowered their guidance on comp sales for the full year.
Overall, the U.S. consumer is actually doing quite well. So how does Home Depot compare to some of their rivals?
Well, it's interesting. So we get results from Lowe's. That's their biggest rival. It's a smaller company. We get results from them tomorrow. And actually, Home Depot's been doing pretty well throughout the year. If you look at their share price, up around about 20% through this year, doing better than the S&P 500, doing better than Lowe's. Nevertheless, there is a bit of a choppy environment that they have faced. They've had some wet weather. We have these tariff concerns, also the lumber deflation. But they have been doing pretty well in terms of that housing. The housing market has stayed relatively strong. It's not been on the tear that we've seen over the past few years, but doing pretty well there. I suppose any concern is that if tariffs impact consumers, people may stop spending on remodeling their homes.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the housing market and how it's tied to Home Depot, because people tend to say that when the housing market does well, Home Depot does well as well, because people want to spend money on their houses. When housing is slowing down, Home Depot still does well because people want to invest in their homes to increase the value.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those things are true. Obviously, when people are doing well, they may be thinking about selling their homes, so they might necessarily engage in some updates to their homes. If it's not doing so well, people may not be thinking about buying a new home, so they might still update it. They're also impacted by mortgage rates, of course, and we've seen those coming down too. So that's been helpful. And again, the CEO in the statement today saying that they are encouraged by the health of the U.S. consumer and this stable housing environment. They say that's what's giving them some momentum. They're just concerned really about what this tariff impact might mean for the strength of the consumer or the health of the consumer in the US.